Hey guys, George at Soundtrax here, and did you know your Tsunami 2 has a full audio studio built into the decoder? Well, we're going to show you all that and more, so let's get started. Now, when you install your Tsunami 2, you don't have to do any special software programming or downloading or anything like that once you install your decoder. You can simply put it on the track and start running it. Now, one of the biggest things that's going on out there is a lot of people seem to think that all of these models sound very unique and very different. Now, this may be a marketing bullet point for a competitor's decoder, but one of the things I will tell you is working in this industry and seeing the audio as it's morphed over the years, there are a lot of tools that are already built in of the Tsunami 2 that allow you to manipulate and change how your locomotive sounds. In addition, different ways of making recordings can also change how your locomotive sounds. Now, for example, if I was to take this particular locomotive in the real world and locate my microphone in different locations around the model, I'm going to get a bunch of different recordings, even though it's the same model. Yes, of course, they're going to have the same bass characteristics, but at the same time, you're going to get a slightly different recording. Now, if you really want to know proof of this, let's look back into movie making and theater shows and things like that. When you're hearing thunder, are you actually hearing thunder? A lot of times, production crew will actually take a stick with a towel wrapped on the end of it and hit a piece of sheet metal to create that thunderclap sound that you're hearing in the movies. So there's a lot of different ways of manipulating audio files to make it sound like what you want it to sound like. Now, here at Soundtrax, we do take great pride to make sure that we record the actual locomotives, so when you open up your decoder and you install this, you're actually getting a modern GE FDL16 prime mover that you're going to select for this locomotive. Now, we can take that audio file and manipulate it in the studio and create a whole bunch of different files for you, but in actuality, we've given you the tools to do that. So first off, let's start with the equalizer. Now, our 7-band equalizer allows you to adjust the overall tones that are being emitted by the amplifier before they get to the speaker. This allows you to adjust the overall curvature and sound profile so that you can match the speaker's strengths and minimize its weaknesses. So for example, in this particular model, as you've seen in a previous video, we've actually installed 4 speakers. There's 2 30mm round and 2 of our Minikube speakers. So with that, we're able to reproduce a lot more of that low frequency tone than you'd get even out of one simple speaker. So with our equalizer here, with CVs 225 through 232, we can adjust and make our own custom table. So to start with, CV 225 is usually allowing you to select between some preset values, or you can set it to a value of 7 for user adjustable. Now, when you activate the user adjustable, this enables CVs 226 through 232, each of the 7 bands of the equalizer, and you can boost the certain frequency by raising the value above 128, or you can cut a specific frequency by dropping the value below 128. And of course, every CV has a range between 0 and 255. Now, I've already created a bell curve in here, and you can see the CV values here on the screen. So now, with those preset settings in there, I'm going to simply enable CV 225 to a value of 7. And you can instantly hear more of that low frequency and that low tone coming out of my diesel engine. Now, you can play with this and adjust every single locomotive in your roster to have slightly different settings in that equalizer so that all of your locomotives sound just a little bit different. Now, the next setting that we have in our decoder is in the Tsunami 2, we have CV223, which is recognized as pitch shift. Now, what this will do is this will take the overall pitch sound of the prime mover and slightly shift it up, or we can slightly shift it down, depending on what you're trying to recreate. And again, this is just another tool that we built into there to help you customize your locomotives so they all sound a little bit different, so that way you can enjoy the Tsunami 2. So for example here, we're going to take CV223 and I'm going to raise it all the way up to 255 so you can really hear how that pitch shift changes. Now you can kind of hear how it's a little bit higher pitch, not much, just a subtle difference, but now you're hearing that GE FDL, but it's a little higher in pitch. Now when I take CV223 and I'm going to shift it all the way down, so we're going to go to opposite ends of the spectrum. So this is going to take it and move it down. And you can kind of hear how that change has reduced the frequency and the shift of the pitch. Now, one more thing we've got is the ability to add reverb and echo into the sounds of the prime mover and all of the individual sounds. Now, for example, here you can hear it echoed in the horn. And you can kind of hear how that echo trails off, especially in the short horn. Now you can adjust how much of that percentage of that reverb is refiltered back into each of the sounds. CV161 determines the percentage 0 to 255 equals 0 to 100% for the whistle or the air horn sound. But CV163 actually is the sound for the prime mover. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and take CV163, and we're going to take it from 0, but we're going to take it to about 50%, so 128. So it doesn't give a much of a change, but you can hear a slight difference now in the way that that sound is echoing. Now let's go ahead and take CV163 all the way up to 255. And you can kind of hear how that's changing the sounds. And again, you can adjust these for yourself. Now, one other tool that we've given you is that every single sound effect has its own volume control. So for example, the air horn, the whistle, the bell, the prime mover, those all have their own individual volumes, but so do sounds like the radiator fans and the coupler clack, the clickety-clack on the wheels, even up to and including Fireman Ed's toilet flush. Now to show you this, we're going to go ahead and blow the air horn, and you can kind of hear how loud it is. Now, the volume level for the exhaust is CV131. So we're going to go ahead and take CV131. We're going to take it down to a value of 50. We're really going to reduce that volume level. And you can hear how that's dropped significantly. But the air horn is still at the same volume. So you can do this with every single sound effect that's built in to your Tsunami 2. Now, for more information and details on all of those audio tools that you have in your repertoire, be sure to check out Soundtraxx.com for more detailed information and access to our free user's guide that you can download, read through, and learn how to set up your Tsunami 2.